Hi, Will from Sound on Sound here at the Musikmesse show in Frankfurt with Manuel from Exodus Digital. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Great to meet you guys. Thanks for coming on the stand.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about the story of the Valkyrie then, Manuel? Where have you come from? How has this come into existence?
Sure. I've always wanted to build a synthesizer since I was a kid, and that's a long time ago now. I started off tinkering with Commodore SID chips back in the 80s. I was always tinkering around with various bits and pieces. Fast forward a number of years, it's only recently the technology's come about that I could build something like this, something that makes a difference, but without being too expensive or pushing out too much heat or being too complicated to use. So the product of that is Valkyrie, FPGA-based synthesizer. I'd like to be able to demonstrate it to you today.
Well, let's do that in just one moment.
Sure.
But first, can we talk a little bit about the architecture of it then?
Sure.
How many voices, all this sort of thing?
Right, in terms of architecture, it's what you call a traditional virtual analog synth. You've got subtractive synthesis here. But there's nothing really radical in terms of what it's doing in terms of existing virtual analog instruments. It just takes the flexibility, the power, the specifications to a much higher level. So you've got two oscillator groups here, each with 5 sound sources in each group. The traditional VA wave shapes, squares, pulses, PWM, sawtooth. But also you've got two very large wavetables in here. So each group has got a wavetable, 4,096 wave shapes available, 18-bit linear PCM, so they're very high quality. All of these oscillators are 32 times oversampled, so 1.5 megahertz. So you can really push them hard with things like FM, ring modulation, hard sync, without getting any of the noise, the aliasing. It's often been a problem on virtual analog synthesizers. Filters, modeled very closely on the Moog ladder filter, Moog, I don't know.
Yep.
So you've got they're implemented in hardware as well, so 128 of them for each of the voices. You've got the 2-pole and 4-pole filters, so 12, 24 dB, the usual response. But they do, people have played it, they do sound very authentic and analog. They haven't got that digital edge. And because they're oversampled, you can sweep them right over the audio range without any glitches or anything. You can push them into self-oscillation by turning the resonance control up. So 3 envelope generators, you've got 3 stereo LFOs. So when you're in dual mode, so there's two lots of this all assigned to one voice.
Okay.
You get the LFOs affect left and right in antiphase, so you get wonderful stereo effects. 64 shapes for the LFOs. You can see the wave shape on the display here. You can adjust that.
Cool.
Then you've got a very comprehensive effects section. So you've got a 9 module effects section on each part, so they're all independent. You can use them all together. No loss of polyphony, no loss of sound quality. So that's it in terms of the architecture.
Well, let's hear it then, shall we?
Yeah, let's hear it. Okay, so I'd like to take this opportunity of just running you through a few of the factory presets on Valkyrie. I'd really like to thank Luke Terry, who's worked on a lot of these patches. He's done a great job. Thanks, Luke. Right, let's roll.
Can you tell us about the outputs as well then?
Sure. So Valkyrie's got 4 stereo balanced outputs at the back. They're 32-bit DAC, so very high quality, 96 kilohertz sample rate. You can mix any of the 8 multi-timbral parts to any one of the outputs that you wish. So if you can mix them all to one output pair if you wish, you can separate them out, and also you can defeat the effect. So if you want to use an outboard reverb, you can defeat just the reverb or the other effects however you want. So you can effectively use these additional outputs as effect sends as well. So with the audio, we've got the analog outputs. We've also got USB audio class 2 around the back as well. So you can stream all 8 of Valkyrie's parts independently over USB, 24-bit, 96 kilohertz simultaneously. So proper audio class 2 implementation. Comes with a driver for Windows users. OS X works out of the box, so fully supported, class compliant, and MIDI as well. So you can have audio and MIDI, so you don't need to use legacy MIDI if you're a USB setup.
And is there any control software that will go with it so that you can control it from the computer?
Yeah, over there. So there's a complete editor library and application. It's not integrated as a VST yet. That's a future plan to get this total integration scheme. But at the moment you can edit offline or online with a synth connected. You can arrange them into libraries. You can save them to disk, and all of Valkyrie's parameters you can adjust there really quickly. So stuff like the mod matrix, which is quite tedious to set up here,
Sure.
just to drop down on that. So
Brilliant.
really easy to use. And you can plug a keyboard into that so you can audition, you can hear in real time as you make changes there, or on the synth. I'll keep in sync. You can hear that all in real time.
Okay, so there's a lot going on there. How much is it going to cost? And when will it be available to people?
Well, that's the $64 million question, isn't it?
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not. A very good one. So I'm here today to talk to the distributors to find out what the model is for getting this out. But I want to put all the rumours about €5,000 and €4,000. Put that to bed. This is going to be well under €2,000 retail. So let's forget all these 4,000 and 5,000 stories going around online.
And when are you hoping to be shipping?
As soon as the distributors will take it. So these are pre-production models. Yeah, I've got a bit of tidying up to do, but it's feature complete. As you can see, you can play this. All the USB is implemented. We forgot to talk about the USB audio. It's ready to go. It's just ramping up production. Now, I'd like to see it out there certainly in Q3 of 18, with a keyboard model and the 19-inch rack model coming possibly early in the new year.